Hi, kids. Welcome to Bear Time Adventures. My name is Charles Wallace. And like I always tell you, you can call me Charles, you can call me Mr. Wallace, or if you want, like my own kids call me, you can call me Bear. Today's story is actually about one of you, a very special little boy, and he's a hero. And I call him Captain Bright. He's such a hero, not because he wears a cape or has superpowers, but because he is so brave through some very special challenges he must face. You see, kids, Captain Bright goes through some tough days, but his amazing smile shines brightly because of all the love he gets from his mom, dad, grandmom, and all of his family. They care about him so much and they give him so much love and support that it helps him smile, even when things are sometimes hard for him. This story is a little Christmas adventure that shows how love and kindness can light up even the darkest nights. Ooh, it's getting a little cold out here in the snow. Maybe we should go inside and sit by a nice cozy fire, and I will tell you the story of Captain Bright and the Christmas miracle. In a cozy little town called Whispering Hill, there lived a very special little hero named Captain Bright. At just 1.5 years old, Captain Bright was known for his joyful, twinkling smile, a smile that shined even through his toughest days. You see, Captain Bright had special challenges, and he needed a little extra help sometimes. But with the love of his parents, his kind grandmother, and his warm, close family, he always had a smile, and it could light up even the darkest room, bringing happiness and joy to everyone who saw it. One crisp Christmas Eve, Whispering Hill was filled with holiday cheer. Twinkling lights sparkled in every window, casting a warm glow across the snowy rooftops. The smell of fresh cookies filled the air, and in the heart of the town stood a tall Christmas tree, topped with the brightest, shiniest star. Captain Bright's family strolled through town, with his mom and dad pushing his stroller through the softly falling snow. His grandmother walked beside them, and she leaned down, whispering to Captain Bright, "See those twinkling lights? They shine just like your smile, my little cutie." She gave his hand a gentle squeeze, and he looked up at her, clapping his little hands with joy. "Look at his eyes just sparkling," his mom said softly, smiling at Captain Bright as he gazed up at the lights. His dad chuckled, leaning over to ruffle his hair. "He's our little hero, spreading cheer everywhere he goes." Captain Bright's big, wondering eyes sparkled as he reached his tiny hands out toward the lights, sharing his joy with everyone around him. His smile seemed to lift the hearts of everyone they passed, adding a bit of brightness to the chilly evening. But as night fell, something strange and unexpected happened. A dark, swirling cloud began to creep over Whispering Hill, dimming the lights one by one. People stopped in their tracks, their laughter fading into silence, and even the cheerful Whispering Hill Express, which had been chugging along through the town square, came to a stop. Its lights flickered, and the friendly whistle grew quiet. The dark cloud wasn't just any cloud. It was created by Shady the Shadow Elf. Covered in a dark cloak, Shady slipped between buildings, casting shadows wherever he went. He grinned as he made the colorful lights dim, his cloak swirling like a shadowy wave over the decorations. Wherever he passed, lights flickered and even went out, leaving the streets dark and silent. Shady whispered to himself, "Who needs lights when shadows are so much more mysterious?" He giggled mischievously, waving his shadowy cloak to make it even darker over the square. Captain Bright's parents looked around, worried as the warm glow began to fade from the town square. His dad whispered, "Without the lights from the Christmas tree, I'm worried Santa might not find our town at all. His grandmother leaned close and said, I think the town could really use your smile now, Captain Bright. And who knows, maybe Santa will need it too. Captain Bright looked at his grandmother and started to beam, his infectious giggles filling the quiet square like little bells. His parents pushed his stroller through the snowy streets, and as they passed the candy shop, Captain Bright waved and smiled, his joy lighting up his face. To everyone's amazement, the glow returned to the shop windows, brighter than before. The shop owner stepped outside, clapping as they saw the light shine again. Captain Bright and his family continued walking toward the toy store, where children were watching eagerly, hoping for the frosty windows to light back up. Then, all of a sudden, Captain Bright's joyful smile made the decorations sparkle. The children cheered, their laughter filling the air, and his mom whispered, "Look at how happy he makes everyone. Our brave little hero." They walked on, his dad giving the stroller a gentle push as they approached the Whispering Hill Express. The train's lights flickered back on, and its engine hummed to life. The whistle sounded joyfully through the square, lifting everyone's hearts. Finally, Captain Bright's family reached the town square, where Shady the Shadow Elf was lurking near the Christmas tree, hiding in the swirling shadows. Shady looked at Captain Bright with a puzzled grin and said, "Why all this fuss over lights? Shadows are just as nice, don't you think?" Captain Bright giggled, and his joyful laugh echoed through the square, as bright and cheerful as a bell. He waved his hands, and the shadows around Shady began to fade away, replaced by a gentle warm glow that surrounded the Christmas tree. Shady tilted his head, confused by Captain Bright's big smile. "But don't you think shadows make things more fun?" he asked, with an annoyed grin, trying to use his cloak to cover the lights again. Captain Bright's grandmother leaned close and said, "His smile comes from all the love he carries with him. Maybe you need to let yourself feel a little love to brighten your shadows." Shady didn't know what was happening. The warmth of Captain Bright's smile was washing over him. He never felt like this, and for the first time, he thought that maybe light wasn't so bad after all. As Captain Bright's smile grew, the Christmas lights in the square turned on again, each one shining with new warmth. The Whispering Hill Express whistled more joyfully than ever as it rattled through the square, its lights glowing like a string of stars. Just then, a jingling sound grew louder, like a promise carried on the winter breeze. Up above, Santa's sleigh appeared against the night sky, his laughter booming across Whispering Hill. "Ho, ho, ho! I thought I'd lost my way for a moment, but then I saw the brightest little light shining from this town." Santa's sleigh touched down softly in the square, and he stepped out, his eyes sparkling with kindness.
"Merry Christmas!"
Santa knelt down to meet Captain Bright, his cheeks a rosy red from the cold wind. "Captain Bright," Santa said gently, his voice warm and full, "you've done something truly magical tonight. You didn't just bring back the lights. You've brought hope and love to everyone here." Santa then placed his gloved hand on Captain Bright's shoulder and looked into his innocent, joyful eyes. "I know," he said softly, "that you've had to be very brave, even on days that are hard. You may be small, but you have the heart of a true hero. Your light shines through every challenge, and that's a gift more powerful than anything I could ever bring in my sleigh." Captain Bright's eyes grew wide, his small hands clapping together with delight. His grandmother, watching nearby, felt her heart swell with pride, and happy tears filled her eyes, knowing how special this moment was for her grandson. She knew the strength it took for him to smile through his struggles, and seeing Santa recognize that made it all the more meaningful. Santa's eyes twinkled, his voice growing gentle. "Captain Bright, the North Pole could use a smile as wide as yours. Someday, I'd be honored if you would visit us. You'd remind everyone there that true strength isn't just in big muscles or loud voices. It's in the light that shines from our hearts, especially through life's challenges." Captain Bright giggled, reaching out and looking at Santa's big round belly. With a tiny laugh, he touched it and said in a small voice, Santa. Then he gave Santa's belly a gentle pat, giggling even louder as he exclaimed, Belly! Santa chuckled, his laughter deep and warm, his whole belly shaking with joy. Oh, Captain Bright, he said with a twinkle in his eye. You're right. This belly's made for lots of laughs, and tonight it's filled with so much joy, thanks to you. Santa gave him a soft, warm hug, then turned to the townsfolk, his voice filled with pride. Remember this, little hero, Santa said, his voice catching just a bit. Because tonight, Captain Bright has shown us all that a smile can light up the darkest night and bring warmth to the coldest winter. With a final wave, Santa called out, Merry Christmas to Whispering Hill and to my new hero, Captain Bright. The world is a better place because of you. Captain Bright waved with both hands, his joyful laughter filling the square. The townsfolk gathered around, looking on in amazement at this wonderful little boy who had saved Christmas. Shady the Shadow Elf was so moved by the kindness that he decided to stay in town, joining Captain Bright and his family as a friend. And every Christmas after that, the people of Whispering Hill would remember the night Captain Bright's smile saved Christmas, leaving a glow in their hearts that would never fade and they would never forget.